Okay, here we are in Montpelier, standing in front of the State House, and we're going to bring you a special edition of the Pulse of Brattleboro. We've gone to Montpelier. We're going to talk to some of the representatives and senators up here about some different issues. All right, we are sitting here with our own senator from Windham County, Senator Galbraith, and we are in the Economic Development Committee room. Yes, very good. And this has been your committee since you've been here, right?
That's right.
And what's your other committee you serve on?
Government Operations.
Oh, that's a good one too. You guys got to do the redistricting and stuff.
Actually not. The Senate created a special redistricting committee, which frankly I consider to be a vote of no confidence in the Government Operations Committee. So I opposed it, but I didn't win on that point.
Wow, wow, that's so. What they do? They formed a different committee than
a special committee.
A special committee.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So, what was the deal? Was it members from the House side and Senate side?
No, it was just senators. Frankly, as I said, I think there was no confidence in the Government Operations Committee. And you know, some committees around here are powerful, and some committees are fairly weak.
Well, it makes a lot of difference on who is the chair sometimes.
It does.
Although I think our very own Jeanette White is the chair of
Well, she didn't defend her committee on that.
She
didn't even consult. Didn't consult. So, in any event, there's a special committee that has been addressing the issue. And frankly, I've had some problems with it because you know, government operations, it keeps a record. There's recordings. But this committee didn't keep a record. And of course, we ran into some trouble with the records that were kept in the Vermont Yankee case because Judge Murtha cited them. But in this case, these records are really relevant to Vermonters who might wish to challenge it in court, as is their right, the redistricting case.
Right, especially where you have a few districts where people were actually moved.
Well, there are
a few lines that have been shifted.
And as a matter of fact, in my own town of Townsend, the House map moved the district, put a part of Townsend, 54 people who were located west of the State Forest Road and West Hill Road, actually, my neighborhood. And they attached them to a district that goes Wardsboro, Dover, Somerset, which you can't even cross because they're you know, it's unorganized. There's 3 people there. Searsburg, Stanford, and Reedsboro. So it's one end of the district, which is right on the Newfane line, to the other is something like 70 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that's unconstitutional, but.
Well, you may have something there yourself on that one too. Although I think we've had other issues.
Well, here's the problem.
I know 10 years ago when I was here when we did it, it was a battle.
Well, here's the constitutional issue, actually. First, both the Vermont Constitution and the U.S. Supreme Court require districts to be of equal size.
That's right.
But you can deviate for legislative districts, not congressional ones, but if you have a compelling state interest that is consistently applied. Now, we do have a compelling state interest, which is in preserving town borders. But if you don't apply it consistently, then you have a problem. And of course, when you take 54 people out of a small town like Townsend, or for that matter, a handful of people out of Westminster, you're not doing it consistently, and that raises constitutional concerns when, in fact, you don't have equality of representation. And Vermont, at least in 2002, and I'm sure it will be the case now, has a deviation, meaning the difference between the largest district and the smallest district. That was the second greatest in the country. In fact, there are only 3 states with deviations above 10%. Vermont was about 18%, and it will be under this new plan as well. Ohio was 12, and everybody else was under 10. Many 0. The one that was greater, you understand, it was Hawaii, because it has so many different islands. You really can't get equality of districts there. But there's no reason why you couldn't in Vermont, and that's part of the problem, part of the challenge.
Did the House have? They still did their committee work, didn't they? Or did they have to?
They did it through the regular committee, and so there is a legislative record there of what was done.
Yeah, I'm not, okay. So let's talk about, you guys are coming down, the committee's supposed to be coming down to Brattleboro this Friday.
Friday,
We
March
won't be
30th.
on by then, okay. We'll be showing a little after that, but you are coming down, and we are discussing the plan, the Vermont Yankees closure plan, and what else?
Well, Darrell, the very first thing I did, the very first meeting of this committee, Senator Luzzi, Vince, as everybody knows him, said, well, what particular issues do members have? And I said, well, we in Windham County, we have a problem, an economic problem that will result from the closure of Vermont Yankee.
You ran on this too somewhere.
I absolutely did.
Speaking about
I absolutely did. I said, it doesn't matter what your position on Vermont Yankee is, whether it should close or not. Most people in our county want it closed. Nonetheless, it provided electricity to the entire state of Vermont. It was the state of Vermont that had taken a decision to close it. But we're the ones who are going to suffer the economic consequences. And it's going to be lost jobs. It's going to be a decline in real estate prices as people leave the area. And so I felt that the state of Vermont ought to be paying attention to Windham County. And because of the time you were here, that had the problem been in Burlington, say involved IBM, well, when IBM wants something, say it wants a new road, the answer in Montpelier is 2 lanes or 4.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get that kind of attention, so we got it last year. We had a hearing down there in Brattleboro. I got an amendment with Senator Luzzi's support that earmarked $50,000 to help develop for an economic development strategy. Some additional money earmarked for workforce training. Well, the people who've been working on that, Jeff Lewis and Stephen Morse and others, have come up with a very interesting set of statistics showing how we're really lagging behind our neighboring counties in New Hampshire and Massachusetts and in Vermont. And they've come up with some very good suggestions. So we'll be including a special fund for Windham County. So we'll be listening to their report, and then we'll be listening to other people, because there are a lot of good ideas out there. And we really want to hear all the ideas on what we can do for our economy. And the strategy has to be a number of things. I mean, it has to be what government can do, federal government, the state government, municipal town governments, and what private business can do. So we want to we want a comprehensive strategy, and of course our particular focus will be things that the state of Vermont can do.
Well, it's good to have the presence there. I think people will enjoy that. Is the full committee coming, or most of you trying to get down
Well,
here?
we're mostly trying to get down. There's we have to work out the schedule with the rest of the Senate.
It sounds like Luzzi will be down there.
Oh, Vince will be
so
there.
That's good. I know
you'll
be there.
So
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and we've invited Senator White to come join us, so I hope she will.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Very good. What else are you guys in this committee here? What else do you have going on?
Well, Darrell, one of the very big issues that Senator Luzzi and I and Senator Ash from Chittenden County have been working on is to look at the ownership of Velco, the Vermont Electric Power Corporation. Now, Velco and its related company, Transco, transmission company, are the companies that actually own the transmission networks for our electricity. Now, right now, these companies are owned by the utilities in Vermont, roughly proportional to their market share. Mm-hmm. But as you know, our 2 largest utilities, Green Mountain Power and CVPS, are about to merge. Mm-hmm. And they will have about 80% of the electric market, and they will have 80% of the ownership of the infrastructure, actually of Transco. And Velco is the management company. Now, that raises an issue, because you have to look beyond Green Mountain Power and see who its owner is. Well, its owner is Gaz Metro, which is a Quebec company. And the owner of Gaz Metro is the Quebec Public Pension Fund, the province of Quebec. Well, what else does the province of Quebec own? Hydro-Quebec. So now you have a situation where the province of Quebec owns the power, and it will be owning the transmission network. Now, you know enough about business to know that's a great situation to be in, to own the product and to own the way of selling it. To you. Now, what is their interest? Well, like any business, they want to sell that electric power at the place where people pay the most for it, namely New York and Southern Connecticut. So we run the risk of becoming the transmission network for it, with expansion in the transmission lines, the environmental costs that go with it. And so what Senator Luzzi and Ash and myself we've had a bill that this committee supported that just wanted to study whether the state of Vermont should, as a condition of the merger, acquire up to a 51% interest in Velco and Transco, that is in the transmission infrastructure. Incidentally, in addition to the issues of control, this is a great investment, because Velco is guaranteed a 14% rate of return on its capital. So for every dollar of infrastructure that we buy, we get 14% a year. Yes, you might have to repair the infrastructure. You might have to upgrade it.
Which is probably the biggest concern you're getting.
Right, but guess what? For that money, you earn 14%.
Yeah.
Now, the state of Vermont can borrow at less than 3%, and so that's an 11% spread.
It sounds like the dams thing in a way.
It is. It's the same
another
issue.
One of these things where we're getting rid of we're getting rid of our natural resource. Only this isn't our natural resource, but this is the transmission line, and we're letting that be taken by a foreign entity.
Well, yes, it's a foreign entity. It's not just that it's foreign. After all, I think Quebec's a pretty well-run place.
I'm all for that too, but
the point is, it's that they control the power and the way to sell it, to deliver it. I mean, they have an interest in using us as the transmission network. But one of the other reasons they're so interested in this is that it's such a good investment. Now, I have to tell you, there are 14 lobbyists running around this building, telling everybody why but from the utilities, why it is such a bad idea even to study the matter. Now, because we
of course they don't want anybody to even.
Right. Of course, the real concern is the study might determine.
Now, the governor, though, isn't he one of your obstacles?
Absolutely. He's saying it doesn't even make sense to study this.
But he was on board with the dams. I don't know. I do see somewhat of a same issue here for me.
It is the same
when
issue.
I first saw that. Now, what happened in the courts? Didn't something just happen in the courts with the whole thing, no? Or no, was that not the same?
No, there was the Public Service Board has just reached an arrangement that will give that will reduce the number of seats on the Velco board that Green Mountain Power, the merger, would have. But it doesn't really address the issue of the financing of this. And just so you understand this, U.S. Treasuries pay about 3.5%. And U.S. Treasuries actually involve some risk, as in the Congress might not decide to pay the bills. That's what happened last August. Well, come on. What are the chances that utility regulators are going to say that utilities shouldn't make a profit? Zero. The fact is that, as I was saying, there are lobbyists crawling around this building saying what a bad idea it is to study it. And, I think you can bet that it isn't the case that these utility lobbyists have decided all of a sudden that the public interest of the people of Vermont is their number one interest. And frankly, if it was as bad an investment as they're telling us, I think their approach might be, state of Vermont, take this lemon off our hands.
That's right. They would be fighting.
But that isn't why they're fighting this.
No.
So that's a big issue. Really, one of the, I would say it's one of potentially the biggest issue we might address this year. Only, Darrell, I'm sorry to say, I don't think we're going to address it. I think we're going to lose this opportunity just as we lost the opportunity to buy the Connecticut River dams.
Well, sometimes, I scratch my head and wonder, but that's the process. That's the way it goes, and sometimes it's very frustrating.
Often.
Yeah, maybe more often than not. So let me ask you this: are you planning on running again for your seat?
Well, I haven't made an announcement, but the answer is yes.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to know, we'll let everybody know. I know you're still in the legislative session. People like to make sure, wait until they're done, but just wanted to know. Well, listen, that's about it. I thank you for your time, and, good luck.
Well, thank you, Daryl, and
We'll see you
thank you
around
for
town.
the support you've gave me when I
You
was
got it
campaigning,
again when you go again.
and the continuing engagement.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks an awful lot, Senator. All right, so we hope you enjoyed this version of the Pulse. We just came up here and talk about a couple things with some of our local senators and a few of the Chittenden County senators. And the transmission lines are pretty important, in my opinion, folks. And along with the economic development plan for the closing of VY. So that's why we kind of talked to the senators and the senators anyway that were in the Economic Development Committee. And stay tuned. We hope to come back to Montpelier again with another special edition of the Pulse and bring you up to date on some more issues. Thank you.